Welcome, everyone, to the training webinar series, The Encompass Advantage, Streamlining Your VSP Workflow. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to your questions throughout the presentation. You can enter them by clicking on the Q&A on the right side of your screen. My name is Marianne Giorgio, and it is my pleasure to be with you today to introduce Tina Sanchez. Tina has more than 10 years experience of healthcare and over 6 years at Ifinity. She is a functional expert in Ifinity practice management and Ifinity EHR and holds a master's degree in healthcare management. She was born and raised in Savannah, Georgia, and enjoys spending time with her family and friends. Tina loves to read and travel in her spare time. She is known for enthusiasm for helping others. Okay, Tina, take it away.
All right, thank you, Mary Ann, and thank you for everyone that joined today. So let me go ahead and bring my other screen over so you guys can see my Encompass screen here. Right, so we're going to be talking about, how to streamline your VSP workflow here in Encompass. So first, we're going to talk about, when you schedule patients, if you are using the appointment calendar here in the system. So I'm going to jump over to appointment calendar. I did schedule some patients in here before, starting our webinar today. So I'm just going to jump over to my appointment calendar and just talk about a few things over here. So you can see that I have multiple patients scheduled, some on my schedule for today, some for tomorrow. And, it's according to the, practice of your office, when you're scheduling a patient, do you add the insurance? Do you indicate on there, does this patient have insurance? So I'm going to open up one of my appointments here, because this is going to be an important piece, because after we talk about the appointment calendar, I'm going to show you a way in the system how you can actually pull like bulk authorizations for patients when they are scheduled and have it. Now, you see with my Rachel Ray patient, I do have her, VSP insurance added here. And, that probably is the practice of your office to go ahead and, add their insurance here, pull in that VSP insurance if they don't, if they don't have the insurance added yet, or adding their other insurance, whether it be, iMed, Spectator, whatever be the case. So, just keep in mind, from here, I can check for VSP insurance. If this is a brand new patient, they've called in to schedule, and they say, hey, I have VSP insurance, then I can click on this check for VSP insurance button here. So then the system, can check to see if they have it. Let me go ahead and click on it. So you can see immediately if I select that button here, then it's going to say, is this patient a subscriber or member of record for VSP? So, I would say yes or no here. If they are the subscriber, I'm going to select yes. If they are not, I'm going to select no, and then I'll, choose whether it's a spouse, child, whatever be the case. And then you can see I have to fill out the rest of this info, based on who the subscriber is. And then the cool little thing, if, that subscriber and the patient has the same address, then I can copy the address and phone number from that patient to fill in information. Now, maybe they do have a different phone number, so you could definitely update this here even after you pulled it in. So then I would put in, ID number, what the subscriber name is, date of birth of that subscriber, and whether they're male or female. And then I can find VSP insurance. Now, I'm not going to do that with this patient because my patient is their own, subscriber. But that's just a simple way, from here when you're scheduling a patient to, pull in and check, that VSP to ensure that they do have. And for some reason, it's not opening for me. All right, let me go back to this one. Okay. Then I can edit appointment. So you can see I have the check for VSP on this patient, but because that's what I just selected. So I'm going to go back and fix that and just resave that. But for any of these patients, I can see right here for Amelia Earhart, she has VSP insurance. But I did schedule a patient, this Bobby Jackson. You see Bobby Jackson has no insurance. Maybe when I scheduled this patient, they were like, yep, I don't have any insurance. They didn't tell you about their VSP. So we'll talk about that, when the patient comes in, how do we add that insurance after they come in? All right, so we have these patients scheduled. Just keep in mind, Bobby Jackson does not have insurance added, but Rachel Ray, Amelia Earhart, Lucille Ball, Louis Armstrong, and Terry Thomas, they all have VSP insurance. So keep that in mind. Now, from my appointment calendar, and you don't have to be on the appointment calendar, you can be back on your home screen. But if I am on the appointment calendar and working in the office, and maybe I'm like, okay, well, I need to go, pull authorizations for these patients that are coming in, because maybe your office pulls them the day before, you may be pulling them, a couple of days before that patient comes in. So whatever day it is, I can go up to patients, and I can select VSP bulk authorizations. That's if I want to go in and pull authorizations for a bunch of patients at one time, versus going to each individual patient and doing that. Now, just to let you know, if I am on the appointment calendar, I can, double click on there. And, I do see I have VSP here, but let's say that I didn't have an authorization yet. If I single click on my appointment from the appointment calendar, and I click on my head and shoulders picture here on the left-hand side for that patient, I can go right into here. I can, put in insurance here if I didn't do it on the appointment. Or if I haven't pulled the eligibility yet, I can go into my eligibility authorization tab. So you can see there's my essential medical, here's my VSP. If they have any other insurances, you're going to see those listed here, as long as they have been added, to the patient's record. So from here, I can simply go to the eligibility authorization. If I'm like, yep, they're going to use their VSP signature today, then I want to go ahead and pull that authorization. So I'm going to click on eligibility authorization. And then I can, check off what I want to pull those benefits for. Now, keep in mind, if you, had went out to ifinity.com and you got an authorization, on the website, you can retrieve it here by doing retrieve existing authorization. You can also backdate. So let's say that I'd pulled the authorization 2 days ago on, ifinity.com, and then I want to come and pull that off in, then I would put that, the 2 days ago here, put in my authorization number, and then I would click on, there would be a button down here. Let me see. Retrieve. So when I put the authorization number in, I'll click on retrieve, so that I can simply retrieve that authorization that I received on ifinity.com. So then I can invoice the patient's exam materials here in the system by using that auth that I had already, gotten on the website. So I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to be like, no, I'm not retrieving. I just want to pull an authorization. And you could do all if you're like, yep, I need all of this. Or if you only, need an exam today, you can pull that. Also keep in mind, if you're an office that that invoices materials and services separately, you want to make sure you pull 2 authorizations. You can do that here. So let's say I want to do only exam by itself. I'm going to authorize. And then you can see there's my exam. And then I would just simply click on the eligibility authorization again and just check on my frame and lens and contacts, because I'm not sure, what the patient is getting right now when I pull this authorization. And then I'm going to authorize. And then I have my 2 separate auths. So then I can invoice the services by itself, and I can invoice the materials, by itself. But if you're going to invoice everything together, pull out one authorization, so then you don't have to have these two authorizations here in the system and have to invoice separately if that is not your current workflow. All right, so that's just an easy way to add that eligibility right here from the appointment calendar, if I wanted to do it that way. Now, if I did want to bulk authorize, then I'm going to close out of this. Now, keep in mind, I do have a Mayor Earhart scheduled for today, but you're going to see when we go to VSP bulk authorizations, now, it will default when you come to VSP bulk authorizations, it will default to the current date. So if I'm like authorizing something from not the current date, the next day, sorry. So if I'm authorizing something from Wednesday, which is the current date, but probably more than likely you're not doing it the same day anyway. But if you are, you just have to back up your date here to go back to today's schedule of patients that have VSP insurance. Now, we have Amelia Earhart on here, but keep in mind, that was the patient I just did the authorization for the VSP signature, but you can see Amelia is still with her essential medical because she did have both of those plans. So I can authorize, if I need to authorize something for essential medical, then I can do it here from the batch authorizations. Lucille Ball was scheduled, and then I have Rachel Ray, and you can see Rachel Ray is listed here twice because she does have the two different plans here. So, you can authorize both of them if you need to. If not, you're just going to authorize whichever one you need to have an authorization for, because maybe I'm not using her essential medical today. So then I'm not going to do an authorization for that. Now, the really cool thing is from here, I did a split authorization on Amelia Earhart. I put the services on one authorization and I put the materials on a different authorization. You can do that directly from here. So if I click on the split button, you can see how it splits this up, and I could say, okay, well, yeah, I just want to do an exam authorization here. On this one, I want to do the frame and lens. So that's what split does. I can do the same thing with Rachel Ray. If I wanted to split hers up, I can do split. Now, if I click on the split button and I'm like, no, I don't need to split the authorization, I'm going to click on remove here, and that just gets rid of that split. So let's say for Rachel Ray that I want to authorize everything. So I'm going to check off all boxes, and then I'm just going to click on submit here. And then you'll see how it says pending on anything I've checked off. And now it all disappeared from here because I have authorized them. So you can see this one's the only one left because I did not do any, I didn't do anything with this essential medical. So now everything is now authorized. So it dropped off my list. Now, if I go to tomorrow, we'll see there's all my patients here that I can authorize, them from here. Now, remember when we were on the appointment calendar, I pointed out Bobby Jackson. Bobby Jackson, I did not indicate on the appointment calendar that Bobby had any insurance, even though when he comes in, he's going to tell us, hey, I forgot to tell you I had VSP insurance. He is not going to be on this list. The only way that patients are going to appear on this list on the VSP bulk authorizations is if when you schedule them, you select that they have VSP insurance. So then they'll populate on here if, for instance, with Bobby Jackson, we didn't know he had insurance because he told us he didn't have any insurance when we scheduled. But then when he comes in, we're going to have to go, to the patient's record, add the insurance, pull the authorization, when that patient comes in. So his name will never, appear on this list. Now, also from here, if when they're on the list, and let's say I wanted to jump into this patient's record, I can just click on their name from here. So that just makes it, seamless instead of having to go up to patients, look them up. If I'm on this list, I can just click on one of their names and, jump over to their record if I want to go look at anything, in their record. So that is VSP bulk authorization. So that, streamlines your authorization process in your office when you're able to do these bulk authorizations. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go to my Rachel Ray patient. Okay, and then I'm just going to jump over to insurance here. So, we can see all my insurance listed here. My eligibility is listed here. There's my VSP that I pulled in, everything from the bulk authorization side. Now, let me go look at Bobby Jackson. Because we know we did not add insurance for Bobby Jackson, but let's say Bobby Jackson was in today, and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, I have insurance. So you can go to the appointment calendar and you can edit the appointment and add the insurance there. Then it will appear on the bulk authorization screen. Or if the patient called you back later on and says, oh yeah, I forgot to, tell you that I have VSP, then you can go back to your scheduled visit and you can add that in. And so it will appear, on that bulk authorization screen when you're ready to, pull all of those auths together. But if, I hadn't done that, then I can just come here to Bobby, go to insurance, and just say, okay, let's check for their VSP insurance. He is a subscriber. All right, and then it pulls in the insurance that I can just put in eligibility authorization. Because even when I add the insurance here, it's still not going to be on that bulk authorization screen because it was not included on the scheduled appointment. Okay, so let me jump over here for a second. Let's jump back over to the appointments. And let's say I want to edit over here and say, okay, well, there's their VSP, because I just added it. I'm going to save it. And then when I go back to my bulk authorizations, his name should be on here. Yep, and there he is. Because as long as you have it on the appointment, then these VSP patients will show up on the VSP bulk authorization screen. All right, so that is, pulling the authorizations, the different, different ways that you can, and, it's up to your office, how you want to streamline everything here. Do you, want to make sure you pull the authorization when you schedule? Do you want to just pull off all the authorizations together at one time so you don't have to go to the individual patients and, complete those authorizations and pull those authorizations in? So, like here again, if I'm like, okay, for Bobby, let's go ahead and check, make sure everything's good. Yep, and then he dropped off of here. And let me refresh my screen really quickly. Yep, so you can see he's gone, except he's there for the essential medical because I didn't do anything with that particular insurance plan. All right, so now I am going to walk through an order because, and you guys may have seen this before, but kind of want to show you, how the VSP interface, works when you're putting in your VSP jobs in here. Especially, I'm going to make it on an order that I remove something that needs to be on the order for VSP, just so you can see, where does it show you in the system? Hey, wait, you got to fix this before you submit, so your order will not fail. All right, so let's go ahead and go to Rachel Ray here. All right, so I'm just going to go and do an eyeglass order for my patient. And I already have my authorization here. And we can see right here has my exam frame, lens, contacts. This patient decided to get glasses. And then I'm going to do a complete eyeglass order here. And let me just use this one, add my frame. Okay. I'm just going to say a lab supplying my frame. Right. And let me switch to poly. Single vision. I'm going to say they're doing clear and put in my PDs. Okay, and I'm going to go add an AR coding. So I'm going to add now for any of you offices that sell, Crizal to your patients, or any that, has like the UV, like if you do any Zeiss or anything listed here, then it's going to automatically add on an additional charge. So I'm going to do my Crizal Rock, and you're going to notice that it automatically adds on this backside UV. But I'm going to take it off. I'm going to be like, no, I don't want that on there. Even though it added it, I'm going to take it off. So I'm going to click off of that and use my Crizal Rock. And then I'm going to add to order. Then I'm going to add a lab. Let's use that one. All right, and then, review our order just like you normally would. I can update my estimates here. And it's not calculating for me at this point. I'm going to continue to pricing. And then I'm going to apply my insurance. Okay, and just keep in mind, and if you notice, my exam charge is automatically added, and that's a setting over in your administration side. So it makes it more, streamlined. If you're like, yeah, I want it to automatically add on these exam charges, on my eyeglass order. Now you're going to notice that I have a fitting fee here. Fitting fees cannot be billed with an eyeglass order. So if I'm like, yeah, actually, we're not billing that on here, I'm going to uncheck it. I'm going to say the patient's got to pay that for my example. But if I didn't want my exam charges on here, even though I have it set to automatically add them, I can click on the trash cans over here and say, yeah, I want to remove those because I'm only doing using my insurance authorization that are for the materials only, if I have split authorizations. Or, if you don't have it set up to automatically add your exam charges, you just click on your plus exam button here, and then you can, add your exam charges. Even though mine are already there. Yeah, because you can see all mine's there. So I'm just going to cancel out of there and then come back to my order. All right, so now I'm going to apply my insurance, calculate. Now you're going to notice, this is what I wanted to show you guys, because this is so great, with the VSP interface. It makes it where you get these messages here before you actually try to submit this job. Because if you submit the job and it's missing a CPT code, it will fail and you're going to have to end up redoing it. So definitely when you guys are applying your VSP insurance, pay attention to these messages. And you'll notice that it didn't even calculate my benefits here. Down here, it says patient's responsible for everything, because it's like, hold on, you are missing something on your order, the V2755. I did that on purpose. I removed the backside UV. If you select an AR coding and it automatically applies the backside UV, please leave it on there. Otherwise, you're going to get this message when you get here to your calculation window, and you're going to have to be like, oh gosh, I got to go back and fix it. Now, it will let you calculate manually. If you notice, you have your calculate manually down here, but with the VSP interface, if you ignore these messages, you're just going to create more work for yourself. You're going to have to end up returning the order and redoing it again. So if I get here and I see this message, I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, I need to go fix that. I'm missing my V2755, and I know it's my backside UV because I removed it. And it could be any type of message up here, and you know, just have to follow what it says and say, okay, I've got to go fix that. So I'm going to go and I'm going to edit my order. And I'm going to go right back here into my lenses because I know exactly what I need to fix. I'm going to change, and then down here, I'm going to add my backside UV back. And wherever it is, somewhere, is it here? And I'm not seeing my backside UV, or did I miss it? Very interesting. I'm not seeing it there. So what I'm going to do is remove this and see if I add it back. There we go. So when I, you know, just removed it, added back my Crizal Rock UV, it automatically added on my backside UV. And then I'm going to add to order. And look over here. It's not really calculating anything yet. It just, you know, has all the charges there, like the patient's paying everything. And oh, because I have no insurance listed there yet. And it's not being nice to me. It's like, wait a minute, you got to go and select your lab again. And now, okay. So let me click on go to build order. Yeah, it's thinking I don't have any insurance now. Okay, let's change this. So I just clicked on the change button to the right because it was like, wait a minute. And now I can see my VSP there. So keep in mind, look over on this right-hand side, because right here in this box, it said it was like a private pay job, but I just clicked on change here and it let me select the insurance again. So I'm going to continue to summary, and then here's my update estimates. And let's take a look and see what's happening here. Still not doing it. So I'm going to continue to pricing. But I just want us to go back and see, okay, is that message now gone? So I'm gonna select this, calculate my benefits. So yep, and insurance benefits were applied. You'll notice my pink message is gone. So I did exactly what it needed me to do. So when I get here, it's gonna calculate my benefits for you. You can see your edit order is not down here any longer because now I don't really need to do any edits, you know, according to the calculation window. That's the only time that you'll see that button. All right, so then I'm going to save it. I'm going to say everything looks good. Patient owes $294.96. Save an invoice, and then complete it as normal. And I actually have just 2 orders for my patients down here, but I'm going to get rid of this one. And I'm going to save. Yeah, it doesn't like my customer credit. $294.96. Okay, so I need that to match. So then my balance says 0, since I'm only addressing 1 order. And then I'm going to process order now for my example. And because I didn't have any additional error messages, then my order should, you know, be sent to the lab and my claim generated and billed out. Yep, so we can see my orders in the lab order submitted and my claim has been billed out. If I would not have corrected that message that was on the calculation window, you would have the lab order failed here and you would have an on hold claim, because it is requiring you to fix those items before you can go forward. And like I said, that is the great thing about when you do calculations, and if there's anything wrong, like when I remove that backside UV, it is going to tell you. So then, you know, it makes it where you don't have to redo that job because you missed that backside UV, or, you know, you remove that backside UV thinking that, you know, it was not needed, you know, on that VSP order. So like I said, that's the, you know, great thing about, you know, using that VSP interface. All right. Well, now let's go over to, you know, the claim side. Now my claim, you know, went into a build status. So let's see if I can find a claim that may be on hold. So you can see how this one says lab order failed. So I do want to talk about, anybody that's, if you're doing the billing of the claims and something happens and, something fails like this, because with my other order I just did, that one's already billed out. It's been sent to VSP for you. It makes it, very simplified, so you don't have to bill it out separately. It submits the job, to the lab, and it also submits the claim for you. But when something happens and it fails, like for instance, this one, now if I catch it in the front office, then I can click on this arrow here, open it up, select the integration status, and then I can see my example says this authorization number is not valid or has been deleted. So, I can see that message here. But if you're a biller working over on the claim side, I'm going to go and open up this claim here. Now, from there, it opens up this claim, but generally, let's see what page, this is Rachel Ray. So I'm going to click on claim search. So let's say I'm a biller and I'm over here in the claim side. I'm going to go and, because on hold is an important status to be looking at for VSP. I'm going to click on hold and I can do VSP there. I'm not going to select VSP, but let's see. So you can see all these VSP claims and additional ones that are on hold here, but I want to find the one for Rachel Ray. So I'm going to put in Ray up here. Yep, so you can see I have these on hold claims here. If I'm like, wait, why is this on hold? Because I'm the biller. I'm over here like looking at these claims to make sure they had gone out. So you can do it one of two ways. I can go to the actions drop down. It wants to load. And I can, click on the claim history. Let's see if it comes up here on my screen. And so the claim history is listed here, just tells you all what has occurred on this claim. So I can see I have multiple placed on hold, because this is a training environment. So if I'm like, oh, okay, it went on hold on 4/29 at 2:36. Why did it go on hold? I can just click on my little note here. And it gives me a message here. Frame service is not payable. Verify from information is entered correctly. I'm like, okay. Well, then if I'm like, I put back and ready to, I'm like, okay, why did it go on hold again? Then I can click on that saying my authorization is not valid. That is the same exact message that we saw, in the front office. If I'm on that material order screen, so it's nice that you can see those messages on the front office and here on the claim side. Because if you're, a front office staff and you saw that order failed, you can immediately see why that happened. And then, if it gets over to the biller and this claim is still on hold, then they could be like, okay, this is why this claim is on hold. Now we've got to figure out what we have to do to fix it. Because once they fix it, the biller's just going to go to this claim and they're going to move it back to the ready to bill status. So for instance, if I looked on this claim and said, oh, wait, it is missing that V2755, if that order was not redone in system, then I can just add that V2755 here on the claim, by editing and put it back in ready to bill carrier. But generally, if an order fails, more than likely you're going to return it and then, rekey it into the system to make sure, it goes through correctly to that lab. Also, the claim gets billed out correctly. So like I said, always keep your eye out for, those messages. Any messages that are popping up on that calculation window, because they're going to guide you and tell you, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be fixed. This is what is missing. So you don't have those failed claims. You don't have those failed lab order jobs. All right, well, that is all that I have for my presentation. Any questions, Marianne, that we've had come in?
It doesn't look like we have any questions. So,
great.
if you're looking for more training, check out other learning options such as documentation, tutorials, and walkthroughs, role-based training, additional training, one-on-one virtual training, and on-site training or consultation. Learn more, of course, at ifinity.com/education. And with that, I'd like to thank you, Tina, for your time and your valuable information you shared with us. And thank you for all that took the time out of your busy schedule, to take this webinar today. This concludes our presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh, she left.